Step inside, out of the cold, and gather around the fire. Welcome to our explainer. Today, we're diving into a really profound philosophical text. It stages this epic, deeply theatrical tale between two ancient figures known as the Seekers of Depth. We're going to be exploring the fierce, honestly kind of violent collision between the abstract world of ideas and the raw, messy, physical reality we actually live in every single day. We're talking ghosts, ripe fruit, sculptors, and a beautiful, chaotic concept known as the tragic myth. So let's get into it.
Act 1. The Seekers of Depths.
Right, so we start off by meeting our first seeker of depth. Now, this seeker represents a very specific, and frankly, a very common type of thinker. It's someone with this deeply flawed obsession with hidden meanings. You know the type, right? Have you ever met someone who just can't enjoy a simple moment? They always have to analyze what it really means? Well, that's our first seeker. They look at the physical world around them and assume it's entirely fake, like it's just a cheap, temporary placeholder for some deeper, invisible reality. So looking at a beautiful, fleeting sunset, the first seeker declares everything transitory is but a symbol. But I really have to step in here and challenge you on this. I ask you, a symbol of what, exactly? Why do we constantly assume that physical reality, the actual stuff we can touch, taste, and feel, is just a stand-in for something else? If a flower is just a symbol of beauty, think about what we're missing by ignoring the actual physical petals right there in our hands. The source material describes this obsession with hidden meanings as chasing a pale, bloodless truth hiding behind the curtain. And honestly, it is profoundly exhausting. It's just boring. Imagine spending your entire life sitting in a theater, totally ignoring the brilliant actors, the music, the vibrant sets, and instead, you're just staring at the velvet curtain, convinced the real show is invisible and happening somewhere backstage. It makes no sense. You're literally giving up the vibrant reality of life just to chase invisible, unattainable, and completely lifeless concepts. Moving on to Act 2, the ghost versus the fruit. Okay, so we're bringing the argument out of those abstract clouds and crashing right down into raw, sensory reality. The crucial point is captured perfectly by this comparison. On one side, you have the ghost. That's that unattainable, bloodless truth the first seeker is so obsessed with. But on the other side, you have the body, which is represented by a ripe, heavy, incredibly sweet fruit hanging right before your eyes. I want you to think about the sheer foolishness of this for a second. Imagine you're starving. Right in front of you is a crisp, sweet, juicy apple. You can literally smell it. You can reach right out and snap it off the branch. But instead, you close your eyes and try to mentally digest the concept of an apple. You're completely ignoring the tangible, delicious reality right in front of you just to chase a distant, tasteless ghost.
This brings us to Act 3, the ladder upside down.
You know, for thousands of years, philosophy and mysticism have basically told us the same thing. Climb a ladder up, get away from the messy physical world, and move toward higher, pure, perfect illusions. Well, we are literally turning that philosophical ladder upside down today. Instead of climbing up into the thin, breathless air of abstract thought, we actually need to climb down. Think of it like this. Instead of endlessly daydreaming about writing the perfect novel in your head, which, remember, is that unattainable ghost we talked about, you climb down. You sit at your messy desk, you descend right into the dirt and struggle a writer's block, and you just embrace the frustration. You firmly grasp the ripe fruit by biting into the immediate, visceral reality of actually doing the hard work. You have to live in your physical senses.
Act 4. The Sculptor and the Fong.
Now, as we climb down into that messy physical reality, we meet our second seeker. And this seeker drops a massive revelation about how true creation and beauty actually happen. Spoiler alert, it doesn't happen up in the clouds, it happens right here in the physical dirt. The second seeker introduces this fascinating, almost primal concept called the eater. Now, the eater isn't about gluttony or anything like that. It actually represents the active, consuming force of striving. It's the raw, active experience of living your life, working, fighting, loving, building. This act of striving acts as the sculptor of our existence. Just picture a sculptor aggressively pounding and molding wet clay with their bare hands. Our daily actions, our physical struggles, that is the sculptor actively carving out reality. And so if the eater is the sculptor, then the song is the sculpture itself. The song is the tangible, real-world result of all life's actions. It is the absolute masterpiece forged by the sculptor.
When you get your hands dirty in the clay of the physical world and you really strive, the beautiful physical creation that is born from that action, that is your song. It's the life you've built, the art you've made, the relationships you forged in the real world. Which leads to Act 5, the collision of opposites.
Now, let's be absolutely clear about something. The creation of this art, the singing of this song, is not some peaceful, serene process. The physical world is definitely not a quiet meditation retreat. It is a fierce, dramatic struggle. The source text explicitly states that this song is born from the violent collision of opposites, and I really want you to feel the intense energy of that exact phrase. Beauty in the real world? It doesn't come from sitting still and thinking pure abstract thoughts. It comes from friction. It's like tectonic plates crashing together to form huge mountains, or a metal chisel violently striking hard marble to reveal the statue hidden inside. Opposing forces violently clashing together is literally the only way true physical creation happens.
So to create this art, you actually need two opposing forces locked in combat. On one side, you have the active force, the eater, the singer, the artist driving the chisel. But they must constantly collide with the other side, which is material striving, the song itself, and very notably, the suffering. To create the song, the singer absolutely must endure the suffering of the physical world. The sculptor's hands, they get calloused, they bleed. Everyday physical life requires this exact, painful tension. Because without the heavy, resistant marble of suffering and struggle, the active force has absolutely nothing to carve. You absolutely need both of these opposing forces colliding to make art.
And finally, the epilogue, the twice-born harmony. We've reached the climax of our tale, the moment where all that violent friction finally resolves into what the text calls the mystical marriage. Now, this isn't a wedding in the traditional sense, obviously. It is the precise, transcendent split second when the singer and the suffering completely merge into one. It's like that moment an athlete pushes through sheer agony and suddenly just locks into a state of flow, or when the sculptor stops fighting the stone and the chisel strikes perfectly, turning raw pain and effort into undeniable beauty. In that moment, the opposites are married.
Which gives us the ultimate takeaway of our explainer today, the tragic myth. So, what actually is it? Well, it's a single, twice-born harmony that is finalized by the total unity of the singer and the suffering. It's called twice-born because, think about it, it is born first in the violent, messy struggle of physical life, and then born a second time in the harmonious realization of the art that it produces. The tragic myth tells us that the glory of existence embraces both the tragedy of our physical suffering and the triumphant beauty of the song we managed to sing anyway. It's all one beautiful, unified harmony. So, I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative question. As you step away from this fire and head back into your daily life, how are you going to live? Are you going to be like the first seeker, looking right past the beauty of the real world, constantly chasing pale, tasteless ghosts hiding behind some imaginary curtain? Or will you turn the ladder upside down, climb down into the dirt, embrace the beautiful collision of opposites, and finally bite into the ripe fruit of the tragic myth? The choice and the physical world is entirely yours.